What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be episode 96, and today we're going to go ahead and take a look at investing to get to your first 100,000. Now, the first 100,000 is important, and this is something that has been floating around the investment community for a very long time, and particularly because this was a phrase that was coined by the legendary and late Charlie Munger. So as you can see here up on the screen, it says, the first 100,000, but you got to do it. Charlie Munger says that your first 100,000 is the toughest to earn, but most crucial for building wealth. Here's why. It's such a magical milestone. So pretty much he has been pushing around this concept, and a lot of people have looked at it, and a lot of people have said that it is feasible. So today in this short video, we're just gonna dive into how you could possibly reach this 100,000 mark to start getting the snowball effect of compound interest. So as you guys know, I'm a big proponent of using ETFs to achieve your long-term goal. You don't have to worry about managing individual stocks. And if you choose something like, say, SPY or like QQQ, you will get a very decent return, definitely beating the bank. As far as long-term investing is concerned, I always ask myself before I make any kind of investment, am I beating the bank? And if I am, great. If I could beat the S&P 500, even better. But investments like SPY and QQQ is a prime example of something that I invest in heavily. And on average, since, inception, both these funds return an average of around 10% per year. So we're going to go ahead and look at investing in something as stable as, say, SPY and QQQ, meaning you could invest in both. We are also going to take a look at a specific dollar amount that you could put aside per day. That's Monday to Friday. So we're going to go with every work day. And there's going to be 260 work days in a year. And we're going to go over that actual strategy. We're also going to go ahead and put the numbers into the compound interest calculator. And then I will also show you guys how we can actually find stocks that have a higher rate of return, and then you could potentially also invest in those stocks. So just going to throw around a couple of theories, and the rest you guys will have to make the decision. But this is actively what I'm doing for myself to get to a certain level. I heavily invest in ETFs. So before we get into compounding, let's talk about something that's called the rule of 72. So what the rule of 72 is, it pretty much states that you would take whatever return it is that you're receiving on your funds and divide that by 72. So as it says here, the rule of 72 is a finance short term to quickly estimate how long an investment will take to double. So the rule of 72 definitions can be described simply as dividing 72 by the rate of return on investment. So for example, if you're using QQQ or SPY, that the average annual return is 10%, you would take 72 and then divide it by 10, and that would give you 7 years for your money to pretty much double. So now the number that we're going to work with for those 5 business days is going to be trying to invest $25 a day. So we're going to try and put away $25 a day, Monday to Friday. So, you could do it from your regular income, or, you could get a side hustle. I don't know, start delivering food with Uber. I remember when I was younger, at one point I was staying with my uncle, and he worked at a mechanic shop, and I'd always see him wake up real early in the morning, way before the mechanic shop is open. And one day I asked him, I was like, why are you doing that? And he's like, well, I have a paper route. And I'm like, what's that? And he explained to me that, he delivers like newspapers. This was way back in the day when people used to read newspapers. And that he receives, like extra income outside of his job at the mechanic shop, and he uses that for investing. You know, lo and behold, this uncle is very well off right now. Um, so there's no more paper routes, but you could wake up early and do something else. You know, there's warehouse jobs, or you could, deliver food with Uber or DoorDash or whatever it is. But however you get that $25 a day, that's what we're going to look at today. All right. So $25, we're going to go ahead now and multiply that by the 260 days, work days that's in the year times 25. So we're going to have an annual contribution of $6,500. So our initial deposit, we're going to keep that at zero, but we're going to select the contribution amount and we're going to go ahead and type in 6,500 here. And then we're not going to select monthly, we're going to select annually. Now, the years to grow, let's say we go ahead and give it 10 years, right? This is something that it's not a get rich quick scheme, but you definitely want to set a pace that you can maintain. Some people get crazy and they start putting in way more than they can afford to, save, because essentially, I should say, this is what you're doing. You're saving. The difference is you're going to get a better rate of return by putting your money into an index fund versus leaving it in the bank or leaving it under your bed. So the average return, like I said, for SPY or QQQ is 10%. Some years, obviously, it goes much higher. So this number, it's variable. And the compounding effect is going to be annually. And as you guys could see, initial deposit, zero. Contribution every year, $6,500 by just saving $25 a day, Monday to Friday. And years to grow, we set it to 10. And the rate of return is 10%. We're at $103,593.26. And like I said, this number is very variable. If you start with, let's say you have a windfall, let's say you have a car that you sold and you got $5,000. Let's just put that in, right? Look at the difference. Let's say you start with 10,000. You see what I'm saying? So it just depends. Now, let's say you are in a higher income. You are in a higher income, but you find yourself struggling. A lot of times that has to do with like lifestyle inflation. And what that means is usually when people start to earn more, they also increase their lifestyle. So I don't know, you might be driving a Honda Civic, but now you're making $100,000 a year. You upgrade to a BMW with payments. Just things like that will affect you. So if you could cut corners on those things and then contribute more, even if you start at zero, because, let's say you're the typical middle class person, modest house, 2 nice cars, but you're broke. You could look at ways to try and cut out some of those expenses and then potentially increase the amount that you could save within that 5-day period. So let's say you go from, 6,500 at 25 a day. So let's go to 13,000, right? You see how quickly it escalates. So just by doubling it from $25 a day to $50 a day, which gives you 13,000 a year for the annual contribution, you're at 207,000. So the numbers like I said, are variable, but when you slowly invest like this over time, trust me, it just goes crazy. The best way to do it for me, you can manually do it. I personally prefer to just auto invest. So I'll set it up, in my Robinhood, so the money just comes out my account automatically and it's put inside whatever ETF or stock that I'm interested in. Now, I'm not just saying that you should invest in SPY and QQQ. I invest in a couple of different things, and a lot of the stocks that I invest in, I would say at least 10 of the assets that I invest in is auto invest. So this money is just coming out my account every week. So let's go ahead now and just take a look at a way that you could find potentially other stocks to invest in. All right, so next up on the screen, the website I have is finviz.com. This is a screener. There's a bunch of screeners. This one's free, so it's kind of spammy. There's like ads all over the place. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and go to the top here, and we want to go ahead and select screener. All right. So when you select screener, there's a couple of different tabs here. We're primarily going to be using the descriptive tab. We're going to also use the technical tab, and we're going to go through a couple of items within this tab. So on the descriptive tab, what we're trying to do is we're trying to filter out stocks that pretty much have certain criteria. So we're looking for stocks that have shares outstanding of say 500 million or 200 to 500 million. Then we're also looking for stocks that have a price above, let's say, $50 to $100. We could play with the levels. And then we're also looking for something that's in a high growth sector. So I guess you guys could figure out I'm probably talking about tech. All right, but it could be any sector that you guys like. I like tech. That's where my background is. And then on the technical tab, all right, so on this tab right here, we're going to be looking at anything that has growth over 50% over the last year. And then we're also going to be looking at anything that's above the 20-day MA, the 20-day moving average. All right. So let's go ahead and hop over to the descriptive tab first. And then we're going to go to shares outstanding. So let's go ahead and set it to over 500 million, right? And then the next thing we're going to do, see, there goes the spammy ads. Hey, it's free, so don't complain. Just close it, all right? Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to select the price. So let's say we want a stock that's, what is it? Let's say we go over $50. All right, so we don't get too much of those cheap companies that are probably not something that you want to be investing in for the long term. And then we want to go ahead now, and we also want to select movement above the let's see. So yeah, let's go ahead with sector. So let's go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and select on the sector. We're gonna select technology. And you guys, as you see, there's a bunch of different sectors here. You could choose whatever sector you like, right? But I'm choosing technology. And as I'm going through this filter, the screener right here, you could see that it's slowly just changing out the companies. All right. And then next thing we're going to look at is the technical tab. So we're going to go over to the technical tab. So we click here, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to select performance, and we're going to select a stock we want something that's up 50% over the last year. All right. All right. So year, we're going to select 50% plus. You could select anything. You could go with 100%, doesn't matter. But as you notice here, it significantly cuts down the list. All right. And then we're also going to go ahead and we're going to get something that's above the 20-day MA. Okay. So we want something that's above. So we're going to say SMA above SMA 200. All right. And as you see now, it just pops up this list for you. All right. So we have applied materials. We have advanced micro devices, AMD. We have Marvell. We have Micron. We have NVIDIA. We have TSM, which is Taiwan Semi Manufacturing. They're closely related to NVIDIA. NVIDIA designs the chips and these guys make it. And we have Uber Technologies. So it just cuts down the list, but you guys could go ahead and just play with these levels. Like I said, play on the descriptive tab and then play on the technical tab. I will also go ahead and put the notes for this on how to choose the filters in the description, so you guys could check that out if you're interested in this. But you could play around with it. There's different ways, different things you could do. But this is just another way to help you find like specific stocks. Okay. If we go back over here and we select descriptive, for example, and we go shares outstanding, let's say we move this to 200 million, you're gonna see that it modifies the list. All right, so it includes a couple more companies. Now we see that we have Seagate, Qualcomm. So it just depends on what you want to invest in. And always remember, guys, anything that you choose to invest in, you should have some basic knowledge of it. People will tell you, oh, it got to be aligned with your values. I don't care about none of those values. What I want to do is invest in something or some industry or some sector that I have knowledge about, because when you're knowledgeable about the sector, it's going to give you an edge. It's just, it's just common sense. Just wanted to show you guys a path on how you can get to, your first 100,000. And that is simply by, like I said, for me, it's investing in ETFs because I don't have to manage them. I choose solid ETFs that's been around for a while, and giving a return of, say, an average of 10%. Yes, you're going to have years that are better than some, so obviously those numbers are going to be a little bit different. For example, QQQ returns, on average 10% for the year, but if you look at last year, it returned, what is that, 36%? So you could significantly grow your investments to 100,000 real quickly, and then once it gets to that 100,000, from there it just kind of snowballs, man. If you're getting 10% on 10 grand, what is that, $1,000? 10% on 100,000 is $10,000. So you see how that money just keeps snowballing, and once you get to that 100,000, it gets a lot quicker for you to get to $1 million. All right. That's it for the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you found this information useful, please go ahead and like this video. Also share this video with a family member or friend. Consider subscribing if you like videos like this. I make new videos every day. Thanks again for watching the video. There's going to be a couple of cards on the screen towards the end. Please go ahead and click on another one and watch another one of my videos. I definitely make videos that provide value. Thanks again for watching. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.